Hey guys, what's up? So, as you probably can already tell that I am not in my usual location where I make my videos because I have officially moved to Houston, Texas. That's right, I am officially in Texas now. Now, I want to tell you guys my experience of getting here. Now, for the most part, the whole idea of moving is usually a stressful and emotional one because you are saying goodbye to loved ones and friends that you're probably not going to see for a while, and you're moving to a completely new place where you're a complete outsider and you feel alone because there's nothing of familiarity. But usually getting from point A to point B is usually a smooth transition. Well, that's not exactly what happened for me, because now I'm going to tell you my experience of how I got here. On Monday, June 22nd, was the day that my father and I were shipping out. So, as it was an emotional one for me, going around saying, you know, goodbye to the house. Yes, I was saying goodbye to a house, what of it? And, you know, saying goodbye to my grandparents, and I said goodbye to my other grandma and other things. My father was waiting around for the moving company to tell him how much it was gonna cost to get the furniture once it was delivered. So, waited around. That, you know, that unfortunately took up a lot of time, and we didn't really get out of there till about right around noon. And then from there, after he was finally told that, you know, that a cashier's check would be fine, we went to the credit union that our money's in, and he was gonna get the cashier's check there, but, you know, seeing as we were kind of short on time because we waited around for so long to hear a reply that, you know, that a cashier's check would be fine. So we headed down the road, and I was looking on my phone to find out where the next nearest credit union was, and that was in Stafford, Virginia. Well, we went past Stafford, Virginia, and we got into Richmond, and that's when he realized that we had passed Stafford and didn't get the cashier's check. So we were, you know, scrambling around trying to find where the next one was. So, you know, that was very stressful, trying to figure out how to find out where there was a credit union that, you know, that we could get it from. And, you know, that, you know, a lot of time. He was on the phone with the people, and they were back and forth, and it was just a lot of wonderfulness. It was just a disaster. And unfortunately, this disaster was just going to be a series of other disasters that just went one into another until we finally got here. So, by the time talking back and forth and whatnot and trying to figure out where another credit union was, it was dark, and we ended up staying in Lexington, North Carolina. So, we only did about maybe 7 hours instead of usually getting maybe 14 or 12 in, but that was fine. We stayed the night in Lexington, North Carolina, and I had Cracker Barrel for dinner, which was the fried catfish, and oh my god, it was good. I had the macaroni and cheese, I had the green beans. It was so good. And after having an experience like we had in the morning, Cracker Barrel was well worth it, especially the dessert. The Coca-Cola fudge cake, that just made everything perfect. Alright, so the next morning, which would be the 23rd, we head on the road, we leave Lexington and keep going, and we get somewhere in about South Carolina when we realize, okay, we need to get the cashier's check. He calls the moving company again, and they keep telling him that the cashier's check is fine. So of course, the nearest credit union that we could go to get the cashier's check was in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Now, I don't know exactly where Lawrenceville, Georgia is, but it was kind of out of the way to get to it. So suffice to say, we spent about 4 hours in Lawrenceville, Georgia, getting the cashier's check, and then trying to find how the hell to get out of it, get back on the main road that we need to be on, only to get stuck in in rush hour traffic in Atlanta, Georgia. That was a lot of fun. But I did get to see some of the places that I've seen on TV. I saw where the Atlanta Braves play. I got to see where TBS and Turner Classic Movies were, and I got to see where the Coca-Cola factory was. After getting through the rush hour that was Atlanta, Georgia, we kept going through a little bit more Georgia, and then we go right into Alabama. Now, Alabama was fine, had no problem, except right before we got to about Mobile, it started to rain on this 2-lane road that just went on and on and on and on and on and on. I swear, that thing just went on. It was like an endless road that just went on until infinity. When the rain finally let up, it was really, really dark, and it was like way past normal time that you probably should be, pulling over for the night. But it was about 8-something, maybe 9-something, and we stopped in this place called Sulphur, Alabama, which was only like an hour or maybe even shorter than that from Mobile, Alabama. But we stayed there for the night, and not much to really say about Sulphur, Alabama. Had dinner at Ruby Tuesdays, and that was pretty much it. Went to sleep, got back on the road again, when even more problems happened that day. That day makes it Wednesday. That would be the 24th. After leaving Sulphur and getting through Mobile, Alabama, and getting through all of practically the rest of, Alabama, we get into Louisiana. Now, right before we get to Louisiana, we have more problems. Those problems are that it turns out they will not accept a cashier's check, and it has to be cash on demand, or we can't get our furniture. So that just made a whole lot of stress for me and my father. Mostly for my father. I could care less, because it's like, I didn't want to be here in the first place, but what are you gonna do? But that was lots of fun. I had to try to figure out where another credit union was so we could get cash. But then after back and forth on the phone and calling this person and the threat of getting legal action, it turns out that the cashier's check would be fine and that everything else was smooth sailing, and we got into Texas and we got to, take possession of the apartment, and, looked around the apartment, everything was fine. But of course, since you have no furniture, you really don't do anything with it. I mean, the water was turned on and electricity was turned on, but there was nothing, and I'm not sleeping on the floor. So we stayed the night in a really nice hotel, when of course, then we got more things as before the company would accept the cashier's check on demand so we could pay to get our furniture once it was delivered. Turns out the company needs to have his credit card and his driver's license. Well, of course, we're traveling, and that makes it very hard to do that when you're traveling. Luckily, the hotel we were staying in had a business center, so he scanned his credit card and his driver's license, and that went fine. Then he got a thing saying that he had to fill out form to authorizing, the use of, credit cards and, driver's license. So then we had to do that, and then that was a whole lot of fun. I don't know, we spent about an hour or maybe an hour and a half in the business center getting all this stuff in, hoping that everything's gonna go fine. And then by that point, we were completely exhausted, had Denny's, it was alright, came back, fell asleep, got up the next morning. By then that day, that was the 25th, I think, and we had to rush from that hotel back here so we could get our furniture once it arrived. Luckily for us, the furniture arrived early, so we didn't have to wait around in an extremely hot apartment, because apparently the day we got into Texas, which was Wednesday, it was just, oh my god, I'm melting hot. And that continued into Thursday, which was the worst. That was like even the hottest. I think that's like literally the hottest I've ever been, because the furniture people were here bringing it in, and we had to leave the door open. Oh my god, I was sweating. They were sweating. My father was sweating. I think the furniture was even sweating. It was just, I want to die. I have no more. Everything inside of me is boiled and baked, and it was like, oh, just kill me already. And then, so after they left, and you know, they took the cashier's check, no problem, cranked up the AC as high as it could go, and tried to get the whole entire place to get cooled off. Whew. Well, it's now about a week later now, because I'm filming this Thursday, the 2nd of July. We're in July already, people. The apartment is nice and cool enough. It still hasn't quite got there. It needs maybe about another week and then it'll be perfect. But much better than what it was when we got here on Thursday. It was like, oh my God, I don't know how long this one particular apartment had not been in use. The thing hadn't, I don't know, the power hadn't been turned on for at least maybe, had been shut off for about maybe a month or so, maybe even longer, because it was like we walked in there, turned the key to open the empty place. Oh my God, it was hot, everything. It was, I wanted to just leave right away. I'm like, nope, I did not sign on for this. I'm out of here. I don't like heat. I don't like humid. I want to go back. So that's basically been my experience of how I got here. And now I spend most of my days bored, completely out of my skull, because I have nothing to do. But I'll explain all that in another video. Alright guys, so until then, have a good and safe 4th of July. That's what I'm gonna say, because the 4th of July is coming up this weekend, and I want you all to stay safe and have fun, and yeah. Alright guys, I'm going now. Bye.